I want to introduce our First Lady, the Queen Mother of Philadelphia. She is the Honorable Councilwoman Janie L. Blackwell. And for Philadelphians and for everybody in this country, wherever you live, if you got a problem, I don't care if you live in Camden, that's why these guys are here. If you live in Camden, Wilmington, Delaware, or New York City, you all say, let's go see Janie Blackwell, no matter what. And she is the councilwoman for the councilperson for the 3rd Councilmatic District of the City of Philadelphia. She is also the founder of Echoes of Africa, which is a 20-year-old organization now. And Ms. Yuma Bai is the current chair lady. Councilwoman Blackwell is also the founder of the Mayor's Commission on African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, founded in 2005. And based upon that organization, many other organizations we gave birth to here as a result of her work and her leadership. In addition to this, last weekend was her birthday, and for her birthday, she gave a party for 5,000 homeless people right here in the city of Philadelphia. And for, yes. And those of you like me, when you're here for Christmas and Thanksgiving, she gives another big party in the convention center for 6,000 homeless people, and I wouldn't miss it, for toys, haircuts, everything going on in the convention center. It's really the thing to be at, whether you're homeless or fortunate enough to have a place to live. But they're all due to her great work, her committedness to our community, to people, from the highest to the lowest, they say, and I'm honored to be able to call her a friend, but more importantly, she is a great leader of the city of Philadelphia, the Honorable Councilwoman Janie L. Blackwell.
Thank you. Thank you, Stan. Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to be here tonight. I always thank our Creator each day for allowing us to see another day, and I thank Him for the privilege of letting us fellowship one with the other and being together and to celebrate this great day. We are so pleased to have the Honorable Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu. We are very pleased to have her here, and as you will know, not only is she the wife of the 6th executive governor of Ondo State, but she in her own right has founded, and we've been talking about it up here, a cancer fighting organization, Breakhand, a leading NGO that she herself has founded. We're so proud to have her here today. Stan was with her today at the University of Pennsylvania for all that they do in this area, and she has just been wonderful. We're glad she's here. We only have one regret, and that is that she's leaving tomorrow. She's leaving too soon. So let me say on behalf of all of us, Echoes of Africa and the Mayor's Commission on African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, certainly City Council, and the Mayor of the City of Philadelphia, we say welcome, 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 and thank you for all that you do.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Excellency. My name is Yuma Ba. I am the chair lady of Echoes of Africa. I'm also originally from Senegal. That's why the accent will be very strong when I speak English. And we are so happy and proud to have you on the city of Philadelphia, and also so proud when I heard you talked about you work with cancer, breast cancer. Like, dealing with that right now in my life is something very strong, when I hear a woman, come from Africa, try to advocate for the breast cancer. And we say thank you, and hope so all of us, we will more aware about what is the breast cancer problem in this country, even in Africa, because right now I having a family member who really dealing with this, and it's very stressful. And as we say thank you, and hope so your work will help a lot of women around the world, not just in Africa, and we say welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuma. I will say this, I heard the First Lady in the meeting at the Abraham Cancer Center, and she was shocked to find out that the incidence of cancer among black people and poor people in Philadelphia, they might have a better chance in other state, based upon the way the statistics are. I mean, she'll tell you about it. I was there, I was a witness. Barbara shaking her hand, she was there. So it has a lot to do with being black in America. So I want to share that with you, but I won't go that way today, okay? But I will introduce you to my dear friends, the co-conveners of this, the Honorable Dr. Anyanwu-Akeredolu and Dr. Kelechi Lawrence. Please, gentlemen, you introduce our guests and we'll do the same.
Thank you, Honorable Jenny Blackwell, for the work you do. We are so proud of you. I would like to ask Dr. Kelechi Lawrence to introduce Her Excellency, the wife of the Governor, Ondo State.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Councilwoman Jenny Blackwell, Honorable Stan Strutter, honorable members of council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. It gives me great pleasure indeed to be introducing to you here this evening the First Lady of Ondo State of Nigeria. We consider ourselves very privileged that the city, through Councilwoman Jenny Blackwell, and all of you by your presence, you are honoring us, honoring the First Lady, to welcome her to the city of brotherly love. When the First Lady said that she was coming here, we sort of thought about what to do. The First Lady that we know is a very dynamic lady, a high performer. She's done a lot of work and is doing a lot of work. I won't tell you her story because I'm going to allow her to tell you some of it. But when she said she was coming here, I said, this is an opportunity to meet the community, to share with the community some of her passions, some of the work that she's doing, and we're happy that she is here. In fact, the First Lady is here on the occasion of their son's wedding, which took place on Saturday. So congratulations, First Lady. We asked her to come. She could have said no, but instead she said yes. And so yesterday, she departed to come to Philadelphia. And so we are going to make sure, or we are making sure already, because we had a full day of activities today, going to different places, organizing people who have interest or who can contribute to some of the activities that are of interest to the First Lady, and culminating, of course, in tonight's event. So at this point, it gives me honor and privilege to introduce to you the First Lady of the great state of Ondo State. I think it's Sunshine State, is that right? Is that right? Okay, the great state of Ondo, Nigeria, Mrs. Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu.
Thank you, Kelechi. Please be seated. The Councilwoman Blackwell, the you're the president of ECO of Africa. I just heard that you're from royal family or something like that. You would have been a high chief in Nigeria.
That's for her.
Yeah, I recognize you. Yes. Honorable Stan, you just look like a Nigerian man when I saw you. And all the council members of this city of Pennsylvania, I like to say that I'm very delighted to be in your midst. Thank you for honoring me. Thank you for having all of us. I didn't come alone. I came with two gentlemen here seated, Ayo Shotiri and Tokwe Rushewe. They are consultants to Ondo State government. When it became real that I would come down here, and of course, the gentlemen that made it possible, you all know of them, Dr. Kelechi and Dr. Azoka. And I said, I wasn't going to come alone. Having a reception by the council is not just something you come around alone, because by the mere fact that you're given that recognition, you would want to take a step further in cementing the relationship. So I thought I should come with people whose business are things like this, and that's why the two gentlemen are with me. Of course, I have to also recognize my personal assistant, Lillian Adeshogo. She's over there. Yes. Everywhere I go, she goes. So it's important that I also recognize her. It's been quite an engaging day for me. It is an opportunity for me to meet people who genuinely express interest in doing something in Africa or in Nigeria. Looking at this hall, it's like I'm in my home state. You all look like Nigerians anyway. So I feel at home, being here, really. Some of you putting on caps like my people, look at that one, and look at the other one from River State. This is such a familiar environment that I really feel at home. Like I said, when people genuinely express their interest to make things happen in the continent or in Nigeria, some of us are really elated, and that's the way I feel tonight. And when we got to the dairy farm at the outskirts of Philadelphia, we did ask, what's that word again? Remember, you are the one that coined that word. Exactly. Do you have the appetite to come over to Nigeria and be part of the renewed efforts or renewed vigor to make things happen positively in our country? And he said yes. And the wife also said yes. And we moved over to the university where I was in my element, because the subject matter is an area that I have dedicated my life for, and that's breast cancer. And of course, I did ask, do you also have the appetite to partner with us so that we can, if possibly, eradicate the incidence of, not really incident, but the preponderance of late presentation of breast cancer? Because if we say eliminate, it might not be that possible, really. So long as, like I always tell people, so long as we are mortals, we will be afflicted with one disease or the other. But the important thing is that we should not die untimely due to it. And the untimely death due to diseases like cancer could be a barrier to, access or having access to treatment. But I know that in the case of breast cancer, if you're able to even be aware, to recognize that strange thing in your breast, and you present on time, there is always the likelihood that you would have caught it on time and your chances of surviving the disease are enhanced. So that knowledge is very important to us. That awareness is very important to us. And we also do know that it is not just the awareness. There must be the infrastructure put in place so that where a woman is empowered to recognize that she has breast cancer, there must be health facilities where she can go and have the treatment. So awareness, adequate facilities, both should go hand in hand. Sadly, we can't boast of that in my country. And that's why it's very, very important that we reach out to people, communities, or, for instance, the state of Philadelphia, if they really, really have that appetite to work with us, it will be greatly appreciated. And I think that the foundation has been laid today that we can work together. I did share my experience with them that I'm a 21-year breast cancer survivor. And so you can begin to appreciate the fire burning in me that I need to share my experience, that it is possible to survive this disease. It's also very possible to beat it. So the onus remains on me to tell people, what did I do to make it till this day? And that's why I am proud to tell anyone who cares to listen that I'm a survivor of 21 years and still counting. So I need people to support me in any way that they can, or support the state of Ondo State, whereby we have made it a point of duty that every woman in that state, to begin with, should be breast aware. And what's the entry point to becoming breast aware? Is education. 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 Our women should understand the behavior of this disease. It's not just about talking about breast cancer. Our women should understand. We need to really get them down to understand the behavior of this disease. And understanding doesn't mean that they have to go to medical school. No. Like I said, a basic, very simple illustration of the behavior of breast cancer is enough. You translate them into their local languages, that this is what happens when the disease is at very early stage, when mammography machine is the only thing that can pick it up. And after a certain period of time, when you can feel it with your fingers, it has left that stage, maybe to stage 1. You show another diagram. This is stage 2. It had left that locality and migrated to the lymph node. Then stage 3, of course, danger knocking at the door, 4th, and so on. So just basic illustration. You don't need to go to medical school to understand. And you present them in their own local language. Everything doesn't have to be in English. By the way, in Nigeria we have, I think, dozens, even if not thousands of languages. But it has to be brought down to the level, given that this is a disease that respects no one, the high, the low, the poor and rich, and so on and so forth. So if we can begin with that, it will go a long way in checkmating the late presentation, which really kills our women. When you present very late, you all know about what I'm talking about. And that was why I was shocked when I saw a slide, the number of women here presenting third and fourth, and I said, this is first class world economy. Why are women presenting at third and fourth stage? But of course, one can also understand that sometimes the cultural milieu in which we are raised could be a barrier. It could be an impediment to accessing care, because the belief system could be so entrenched that no matter your educational level, it could becloud your reasoning. I also did give an example where women are diagnosed or given the diagnosis of breast cancer, and something like, the protocol for treatment would be, of course, having mastectomy, but she will rather consult her pastor. That's what we see in our environment. So you begin to wonder, such an educated woman would leave the hospital and she goes to her pastor. Meanwhile, the pastor hardly made his high school papers, but he doubles as the spiritual caregiver and also a medical doctor. So you can see the problem. But we know that we can reduce it, because this is about behavioral change. And it takes a long time, or takes quite some time, for people who have entrenched belief system to change overnight. So again, it's about education. You can't stop. It shouldn't be a one-off thing. It shouldn't just be during October, Pink October, you just talk about it, you walk, and everybody goes home. We have to be consistent. It must be there on the faces of our people. Radio jingle, name it, workshop. You continue doing like that, the women will begin to uptake mammography test, for instance. And when she notices any unusual change, she will remember they said, go to the hospital. While we recognize that our people, they are very religious people. Nigerians, they pray a lot. And I think the worst thing you can tell a Nigerian is not to go to church or go to mosque. So, but we can bring in these spiritual leaders and also begin to train them, organize special workshop for them, so that since they are usually the first set of people our women will go to when they have problems. So if we now upgrade their skills in cancer management, that will go a long way. Instead of saying, don't go to them, you're making a big mistake to tell a Nigerian woman not to go to her pastor. So, like I said earlier today, that our mantra has become faith and medicine. They go hand in hand. So that's our approach in recent time. Then going back to the partnership I'm talking about, I'm highly honored to stand before you and address you, and I want to believe that Councilwoman, where is she? We have created, or opened a door for a relationship between your council and Because although in my state, we have 18 local governments or council areas like this, but we can start the relationship, at the state level, so that we can build on this, because there's quite a lot that we can share or we can borrow from you, learn how you do things and proper way and so on and so forth. And also, hopefully, some of the your dollars can also be shifted to us, to improve whatever sector that needs to be improved. Having said that, I would like to thank you all so very much for your presence, for your support, for your interest, because there's this umbilical cord that ties you and me. There's no difference. You look like me, I look like you, isn't it? So we are together. And I know whatever support you give to African countries or Nigerian to make that place a better place, so that we can have, how would I put it now, good news, better news, other than kids with bloated belly because of kwashiorkor or wars and all sorts of news that filter in here. But I can tell you that we also do have good stuff back home. So I believe one day some of you would like to come visit, and I know that you wouldn't want to come back to America again. So thank you so very much.
We would like to present our City Council citation, our official welcome, and our official statement of how proud we are to be here this evening. The Council of the City of Philadelphia is pleased and proud to honor and recognize the Honorable Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu, First Lady of Ondo State, on her visit to Philadelphia on July 23rd, 2018. Now, therefore, by virtue of this citation, the Council of the City of Philadelphia is pleased and proud to honor and recognize the Honorable Betty Anyanwu-Akeredolu for her commitment to the physical, economic, and social health of the residents of Nigeria. We commend her on her many accomplishments and extend to her the sincere respect and admiration of our legislative body. This is not only signed by myself, but by the President of City Council, Darrell Clark, and certainly agreed to by all members of Council. Thank you.